Good morning. It's Thursday, March 10th, and there's news coming out from the UN. Now, I consider the UN virtually a worthless organization because they can't get their act together, and anything they try to do, they need a whole bunch of countries to agree, and if they have one of the major countries disagree, they just veto whatever they're trying to do, and they don't get much done. But they have now come out with a ridiculous rule for their staff. Their staff cannot tell the world that Russia is at war. They cannot use the word war, and they cannot use the word invasion. The UN won't let the staff refer to the Russian exercise in the Ukraine as an invasion or a war. They're only allowed to say that this is a military exercise, so to speak, right? It's a special military operation. It's not a conflict. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And where are they getting this new language from? This new language has been suggested by the Russians. The Russians are telling the UN what to tell the world. Is that not ridiculous? Got 190 nations that belong to the UN, and none of them can tell the truth. None of them can talk about the war, the attack on a country that did nothing except border Russia, an attack that Putin has created because he wants to rebuild the Soviet Union. That is unbelievable. Imagine this thing, which is killing hundreds of people, thousands of people, can only be called a conflict or a military offensive. So why is the United Nations taking that stance? What makes Russia so powerful that it can control how the UN speaks about the events that are going on in the Ukraine? A special military operation. What a load of crap that is. And the UN has also banned the staff from posting the Ukrainian flag on their social media profiles. That means that the staff at the UN cannot support Ukraine. They cannot violate a rule. I don't know if there's a rule even. They cannot violate Russia's image by posting a Ukrainian staff on their social media profiles. Standing with Ukraine is against the UN Charter, I guess. I don't know. Now, Russia is one of the 5 permanent members of the UN Council, and that means they have veto power over a lot of things, right? So it's okay if they want to say to the UN, please do this and that. But the UN doesn't have to acquiesce to what they want. But the UN is afraid that their reputation is going to be tarnished if they declare this a war. Well, the UN has no reputation that's worth anything in my mind. I haven't seen them do anything great for this world. So I don't know what they're worried about, this so-called reputational risk. It's a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of people that have no use for the UN because they don't get anything done. So this is a reminder, an important reminder, that as an international group of civil servants have a responsibility to be impartial. But that's not the case. That's what they're telling their staff. We have a responsibility to be impartial, but you can't be impartial. You cannot be impartial when one country attacks another. The 192 nations should stand against any action like this. This is not acceptable. Just because they're a founding member, you're going to allow them to get away with this crap in the UN, in the Ukraine, whatever they're doing in the Ukraine, you're going to let them get away with it because they're a founding member and you have a reputational risk? You're ruining your reputation by not standing up and telling the truth. What are you hiding? What is the UN hiding? Why would they allow Russia, a member of the UN? They should be sanctioned by the UN. The UN should cut off anything they're doing for Russia. Is Russia so important to the UN? No. So the UN is being used as a tool to hide what's going on in the Ukraine by not speaking out, by not telling the world what is going on. Now in Russia, they censored their news media and advised them that they had better declare this invasion, this war. They had better not be posting that in their newspapers, or they would be shutting down all the newspapers in Russia. So the independent newspapers in Russia have closed down and they're leaving. They don't want to have anything to do with the Russians. Is that a terrible thing or not? The people in Russia don't even know what's going on. So the Kremlin ordered news outlets to remove the words assault, invasion, or declaration of war from their reporting. Now that may be the state newspapers. The independent newspapers have all shut down and left. And how does that make the UN feel? If independent news can't come out of a country, why should the UN take a position that agrees with that country? They should be yelling and screaming that Russia is doing things wrong and that it's a war and an invasion, and we, members of the UN, do not sanction this type of behavior. And the Russians also passed a law that threatened up to 15 years of imprisonment for any outlet that spreads fake news about the invasion, right? Fake news. Who gave them that term? Where did they get that term, fake news, from? We all know where it came from. It came from Putin's lackey, Trump. So this is a terrible situation. It's a terrible example of what's going on in this world, where the truth is not allowed to come out, where millions of people are being displaced in a country that was at peace and did not do a damn thing except border on Russia and had been part of the USSR, which was terminated in 1989 or whenever that date was. So now, because we have a dictator who's getting on in years and has decided that he must have the USSR back before he dies, and we have organizations like the UN that are catering to that maniac. That's what I have to say this morning. The UN is terrible, weak, unable to get anything done. See you tomorrow. Bye.